When the intense seasonal rainfall of an equatorial monsoon collides with rapid urban expansion, the terrain itself becomes a hazard. In tropical nations like Malaysia, the combination of steep hillsides and constant development creates a highly volatile geological environment. As a natural disaster specialist, I often remind communities of a stark reality about the elements. Floodwaters will eventually recede, leaving your property behind. But landslides bury history, erasing homes and entire neighborhoods beneath tons of earth. The human toll extends well beyond the immediate loss of life. Survivors and rescue personnel frequently endure severe psychological trauma. Disasters involving children, like the one at Batang Kali, leave deep scars that change how local communities view the safety of the outdoors. The damage also ripples through the local economy. Once a hillside collapses, the residential properties and businesses left standing nearby face a severe drop in market value, driven by the perceived residual risk of another slide. This kinetic data visualization compares standard infrastructure maintenance costs against the massive financial shock of a major slope failure. Notice the extreme spike here. That single massive failure at Bukit Lanjan in 2003 cost an estimated 836 million ringgit in repairs and logistical disruptions. The historical financial drain on public works over recent decades easily numbers in the billions. These disasters are not random acts of nature. They are a predictable, high-stakes battle between gravity and soil friction, and managing that threat requires a proactive defense. Dirt rarely fails on its own. To understand why a hillside gives way, we have to look at a process called a hydrogeotechnical failure. In almost every case, water is the primary catalyst. On a microscopic level, as prolonged rainwater saturates the residual soil, it rapidly fills the empty voids between individual grains of dirt. This increases pore water pressure, physically forcing the tightly packed grains apart and breaking the friction that holds the slope together. This diagram illustrates exactly how human intervention accelerates that process. When land is cleared at the top of a hill without regulation, natural streams are often diverted. That diverted water travels underground and builds up pressure directly behind man-made retaining walls, continuously degrading the soil's shear strength. After 10 consecutive days of heavy monsoon rainfall in December 1993, this exact mechanism triggered the Highland Towers disaster. An unmaintained retaining wall gave way, releasing a highly pressurized, fast-moving earthflow of 100,000 cubic meters of mud. The sheer mass of the mud flow slammed into the foundation of a 12-story residential block, snapping its concrete pile caps entirely. The structure collapsed onto its side, resulting in 48 deaths. The Highland Towers collapse proved a difficult reality for urban developers. You cannot outbuild the laws of geology. Without rigorous water management, concrete alone will always lose to saturated earth. 30 years later, the risk profile has migrated. The same geological mechanics that destroyed urban infrastructure in the 90s are now threatening unpermitted recreational developments in rural spaces. In December 2022, an entire section of a mountain in Batang Kali gave way. The resulting slope failure unleashed roughly 450,000 cubic meters of soil, violently carving a massive scar straight through the mountainous forest. The fatal error here was location. An unpermitted campsite had been established directly at the toe, or the absolute lowest point, of a steep slope, positioned right beneath a major highway during the peak of the monsoon season. The fast-moving earthflow buried the campers inside their tents. The disaster claimed 31 lives, including 13 children, deeply scarring the community. Batang Kali shifted the national conversation. Effective risk management now demands strict regulation of recreational sites in hilly terrain, moving the focus beyond large-scale urban engineering. To prevent future tragedies, the primary defense is policy. As shown in this side profile diagram, Malaysia's National Slope Master Plan strictly bans residential and recreational developments at the toe of any steep slope that exceeds a 35-degree angle. On the structural side, civil engineers rely on extensive subsurface drainage systems. By installing concrete channels and underground pipes, they divert groundwater far away from the slip surface, preventing the dangerous pore water pressure spikes that trigger a collapse. Technology provides a crucial early warning. Engineers install piezometers to measure internal water pressure and inclinometers to detect even the slightest tilt in the earth. If these real-time sensors detect anomalous movement, they automatically trigger local evacuation sirens. The final layer of defense is ecological. By planting deep-rooting vegetation, like vetiver grass, the roots act as a biological rebar, anchoring the topsoil in place while simultaneously drinking up excess groundwater. Long-term resilience isn't found in a single solution. It requires layering strict legal zoning, advanced civil engineering, and deep ecology to effectively neutralize the threat. While massive engineering projects protect highways and cities, individuals must learn to read the land. Identifying pre-failure warning signs early is essential for survival. Start by looking for subtle structural anomalies around your property. If doors and windows suddenly begin sticking in their frames, or if unexplained cracks rapidly appear in driveways and concrete retaining walls, the earth beneath you is likely shifting. In natural environments, the forest will warn you. Look up at the tree line and utility poles. If you spot drunken trees that are visibly tilting downwards, the top layer of soil is already slowly sliding downhill. Pay close attention to water patterns. If you see muddy water suddenly seeping out of a slope that is normally dry, it means the internal saturation point has been breached. The soil is critically unstable, and a failure is imminent. We cannot control the intensity of the monsoons, and we cannot flatten the terrain. But by understanding the mechanics of the earth beneath our feet, we stop being victims of geology and become active participants in our own survival.